So Pharaoh has a couple dreams and they are driving him crazy. None of his professional dream interpreters on staff can give him an interpretation that he likes. Until his wine minister says, "Your Excellency, I remember a couple years ago when you threw me in the dungeon before you released me. I met this Jewish slave down there in prison, and he was pretty good at interpreting dreams. Some guy named Joseph. So Pharaoh's so desperate, he tells his assistants, "Go get the Jew, go get the slave out of the dungeon." They bring Yosef up out of the dungeon, they spiff him up. Pharaoh tells him his dreams, and Yosef says, "Pharaoh, here's what the dreams mean. First, in this country, in Egypt, you're going to have 7 years of plenty, 7 years of great abundance, followed immediately by 7 years of famine." But Yosef doesn't stop there. He keeps going. He tells Pharaoh, "Here's what you should do. You should find somebody who's very wise. Put him in charge of the entire nation. Appoint officials to serve him. And through his guidance, let him store food during the years of plenty so that you'll be able to survive the years of famine." Now, at that point in time, Pharaoh's reaction should be to cut Yosef's head off. Are you kidding me? "Young Mr. Jewish slave, I asked you to interpret some dreams. You did so. Thank you very much. Did I ask you for advice?" And think about the advice that Yosef's giving him. Let's see. Pharaoh, 7 years of feast, 7 years of famine. Write this down. This is going to be complicated for you, big guy. Store food. Pharaoh should be saying to him, "Are you kidding me? That's the advice I get? Fantastic idea, Einstein. How'd you come up with that? Boy, you Jews really are pretty smart." You think the leader of the most technologically advanced country of its era, of an empire, couldn't have figured out that if you're going to have 7 years of feast followed by 7 years of famine, you ought to store food? So not only does Pharaoh not cut Yosef's head off, but instead is the exact opposite reaction. He proclaims, "This is unbelievable. This kid, Yosef, is the smartest guy I've ever met. I am putting him in charge of the entire country." What in the world is going on? Maybe something that seems straightforward, common sense, in practice isn't that easy to accomplish. I had that insight over the last few days because my wife has been away in Israel for a cousin's bar mitzvah and to visit 2 of our children who are there. So I figured I'll play Mr. Mom, and what's the big deal? A few snacks and a few lunches and a few carpools, nuke a few dinners. I'm good to go. But when it actually comes time to play that Mr. Mom role, little did I realize that in order to do it properly, you need nerves of steel. You need strength and dexterity and total concentration, the patience of a monk, a hard drive in your head that lets you effortlessly multitask, the negotiation skills of a SWAT team in a hostage situation. You have to be able to coax and cajole, threaten, bribe, punish, and reward different people at the same time. After the first day, when I finished the last carpool, I called my wife and I said, this was a little after 9 a.m. for me. I said, "Let me get this straight. After you do all this each morning, then you go to work?" She said, "Yeah. Welcome to my world, cowboy. It ain't easy, is it?" And so maybe that's what was going on back in Egypt. Sure, it's straightforward, common sense advice, store food. But go try to do that. Go try to deal with all the different provinces, all the different feuding local self-important officials. That's not easy. And maybe that's what Yosef's masterstroke was and why it was so brilliant. Put one guy in charge, centralize it, appoint people to serve him, create a food czar. And that's what Pharaoh realized. This guy is brilliant, and I'm putting him in charge. And so this Thanksgiving, as we prepare to celebrate, to the extent we're going to, both Thanksgiving and Hanukkah. Hanukkah, our time of year when we thank God for sustaining us as the Jewish people and for lighting our way. Maybe if you're a husband or a son, you can give your mother or your wife the greatest gift possible. Maybe write them a note telling them how much you appreciate them, how you realize that their job is difficult and how incredible it is that they do it so seemingly effortlessly and that you don't take them for granted and that you appreciate it. Or maybe go one step further. Maybe film them a video to thank them, like I just did.
We miss you, Mommy. Come home soon.